Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Shout out to Etta James. Ain't no way. Shout out to the clip of the brother that was saying, "Ain't no way, boy." Ain't no way. For those of you that ever saw that clip, I'm gonna link it. I should have linked it actually in the description box. It was a brother watching some twink white dude. This is real, by the way. Um, Zeus, the swole African brother that does the music reviews, hip hop reviews. I think he was at the gym or he was somewhere and he was about to start lifting weights, and the little twink waited until he laid on his back, getting ready to start lifting, and the twink sat on his lap, and the brother was like, "Ain't no way, boy, ain't no way," and Mr. Z is listening to Princella like, "Ain't no way." First of all, who's D and Princella down, or what woman done burned Princella? Z slightly turns to B Taylor. Huh? Ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way. Wow. She said everything we say here. Her framing was still a little off because, once again, black woman, clearly. But she said everything. Right? Oh, man. Victor Creed says she tired of having to pay for dates. That was frightening to listen to Princella, of all people, admit and admit in great detail how men feel like slaves, how women are using men's biology against them, how sex is really not a want, it's a need. Oh, that was frightening. How women really feel like you should be working yourself to the bone for them. How actually sexual and horny women are. Shout out to BGS. BGS, you said never let me find this. Oh boy. Huh? Everything we say here, Princella said. How we didn't trust Kamala and why we didn't. Huh? Even when it came to the election, she was like, "Hey, men are suffering, and you bringing Kamala and these ratchet ass entertainers out, and men are like, yo, we trying to move away from that. So who are you attempting to appeal to?" She said everything we say here. So number one, Princella clearly is listening to us. Clearly, she's listening to us. It's frightening. Huh? Number one. Number two, who's D and Princella down, or which one of y'all ladies done pissed her off, that annoyed her? Thank you, Trell. You can't make this ish up. And really, you can't. And she said it. The women don't want to hear nothing you have to say unless you placating them, right? Unless you're doing for them. They don't listen to men. They're trying to force men to be women. And it's I see that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think I don't think women are necessarily trying to get men to be women. I don't actually agree with that fully. I understand what she's trying to say, and there's a part of that I agree with. But the trying to know, women are attempting to have one foot in patriarchy and one foot in feminism. It's patriarchy by feminist specifications. They're just trying to get pliable men that pay and shut up, like protect, provide, and shut up. It really is that. Huh? She spoke about, she kind of surface level glanced over, but essentially mentioned classism and how, once again, I don't appreciate the framing, but how patriarchy is hurting men also, and it's a handful of elites that are benefiting. mainly rich white elite men, but huh? Thank you. And Vic says, remember when she said men don't love? Ah, the good old days. Huh? And Mr. Strict to you says, I thought we labeled it feminarchy. Yeah, that's Lion's term, feminarchy. Shout out to Lion. Patriarchy by feminists. But the reason why I use feminarchy, shout out to Lion, but I tend to use more the phrase that I came up with, which was patriarchy by feminist specification. Because if you say feminarchy, people don't really understand what you're saying. When you say patriarchy by feminist specifications, that starts to make sense because it also implicates the quote unquote feminists, the supposed leftist feminists. When you put them back to the wall and to describe to them what equality is actually going to look like on a macro level, and how many of them, if you actually turn this into a more egalitarian system, a more equitable system, what equality is going to mean for women is that most of you aren't going to end up with a man that earns more than you. If y'all actually meant collaborative, then some of you would have to be going down the stairs if and when something goes bump in the night with your man, at least with the man. Every once in a while, that might be just you. If you really want egalitarianism, you would have to be prepared for what that actually looks like on a macro level, and then how that would actually affect you. So that's why I say patriarchy by feminist specifications. It's to make sure that we appreciate and we know. And so any random woman or any random man that falls on the Z's channel and he hears that or she hears that, it's very clear what Z is saying. Protect, provide, and shut up. Patriarchy by feminist specifications. It's not that the women don't want, they actually don't want to get rid of patriarchy. They want a more pliable man. That's why we say protect, provide, and shut up. Shout out to that sister that said that on the Daily Wrap Up crew. Because it's real. And that's essentially what Princella was describing the women want. That's what they actually truly want. Right? And she speaks about, and she, wow, wow. Oh, like I said, shout out to BGS for bringing this up. Oh boy. Better you said, hold up. Hold the F up. Princella, Princella, the leader of the Hate Negroes Ginyu Force, hysterical. And I just saw them do the dance in my mind. Dragon Ball Z reference, everyone. Dragon Ball Z reference. Right? And she said everything. As a matter of fact, Princella, are you sure you're not listening to Z? And she said it. What the women want is for society to teach men essentially how to be women. But I did once again disagree with that framing. But yeah, I said it. The women, particular in the black community. Let's focus on the black community. In the black community, black boys and black girls are raised that black boys in particular are defective black girls and white boys simultaneously. You will not have the money, the power, the prestige, the white patriarchy of that white boy when he becomes a white man, and you will not have the social justice spirit, the kindness, the humanity, the morality of that black woman as she becomes of that black girl as she becomes a black woman. So you are effectively a defective white boy slash white man, and you are effectively a defective black girl slash black woman. And that's essentially what Princella said, right? So this really, listening to Princella talk really and say and espouse everything we say here is quite frankly frightening. But it also speaks to maybe a change in direction, possibly. I don't really want to call it yet. And how dire things are, which Princella also emphasized. Huh? How dire things are. And Vince says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Vince says, she's more honest than FD right now, isn't she? The only person I've seen come close to this in that whole side of the conversation is Professor Odie. He's the only one that even came close to saying these things. Kim Foster knows she doesn't care. I want y'all to understand. I want to stress this. There's a part, I'll say this. Princella is right that your average woman doesn't know and doesn't care to know. She didn't say that exactly, but she said women don't know and they don't care. They're not listening to Jordan Peterson, et cetera, et cetera. I would slightly modify that statement by saying your average woman may not. May not. Huh? The Kim Fosters of the world, the Julesies of the world, the T-Nors of the world, all the ones that have like a Marxist, socialist, all the women that's claiming that, particularly the leftist women, even the conservative women, they know. They don't care. Particularly for the leftist women, they think this is good punishment for men. Particularly for the marginally attractive or maybe traditionally unattractive women, oh yeah, they love this. They revel in it. They love it. They think average men should suffer. So my pushback to Princella on that comment is that women that studied in the social sciences, the humanities, um, right? Anything like that, they either have a really good idea or they know that they just refuse to critique women's behavior concerning men. And as I've said on my channel, we do not want to have the conversation about how much women are invested in patriarchy because they see men as slaves and men are supposed to be doing their bidding. This is where FD starts to back up in the conversation because he doesn't want to actually be honest about how much women are invested in patriarchy because they don't want to do the work. Women don't want to put in 50 plus hours in work, 60 hours, 70 hours to maintain their lifestyle. That's why they're in such credit card debt. Why are men in credit card debt? Because they're subsidizing women. Huh? She also spoke on essentially the women who are charging certain men for the box while giving other men the box for free. Oh boy, Princella. What got into Princella? Somebody's peen. Or annoyance by another woman or women in writ large. Oh boy. But once again, where I would push back on Princella heavily, obviously the framing, but the idea that women don't know, yeah, but elite women, educated women, women that studied in the humanities and the social sciences, they know. They just have sworn their allegiance, particularly black women, to black feminism. You think Kim Foster don't know? Fine, pause. Even Chrissy, you think Chrissy don't know degree in marketing? No, they have sworn their allegiance to the Negroes Ain't Ish collective, the Negroes Ain't Ish sorority. And they know they don't care. Juicy knows, T-Noir knows, Chrissy knows, Kim Foster knows. They know. Mahogany Pink, wherever she is. She knows. Rest in peace, Shorty Low. They know. Huh? Thank you, Vince. Negroes ain't ish brain trust. Negroes ain't ish think tank. Right? And Princella spoke about the women throwing rocks and hiding their hand. As I said before, whoever the social designers are, the technocrats, whoever the theys are, they're using the women to regulate the men. This is class warfare, number one. Number two, they and this you know how you know what we're saying is right? Rest in peace, Kevin. Whenever Kevin Samuel's names pop up. Whenever Kevin Samuel name pops up, to a lesser extent, Fresh and Fit name pop up, you'll see everyone run to critique Fresh and Fit or critique Kevin. Kevin, all type of misogynoirist, sexist, misogynist, He-Man, woman hater, take their mics, right? Don't listen to the podcast, bros. Once again, but no one speaks about when the women would call into Kevin how they speak about men, as if men are walking wallets and overglorified guard dogs. That it's a man's job, as Princella said, to work himself to the bone to provide opulently for a woman. That all a man is the end cap to her quote unquote leveling up. Thank you, Mr. Donnie Mac. ConcuSurf. Huh? And once again, Vince, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe. Excuse me, y'all. Couldn't even get my tagline out. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Huh? This is how you know the women, the elites, have a vested interest in a particular narrative. That's hysterical, Passport OG. Passport OG says, does Princella qualify as a podcast bro now? Hysterical. That's a good question. I haven't thought about it. That's a good question. I would say no, right? But as I was saying, the elites and the women have a vested interest in a particular narrative. And the narrative is men sexist, men must be civilized by women and by society. Women, sugar, spice, and everything nice. And women only act the way they do because men in society break them and jade them. Not their mothers, not their aunts, not their grandmothers. They're not raised to be little neoliberal, money hungry, right? Consumerist, materialist that find their meaning and their humanity through things and through peen. No, men did that and society did that, not other women. Huh? Princella said the women throw their rocks and hide their hands. The women, we have the clip of the grandma on Clubhouse that says she's raising her granddaughter to shy away from black men and to date. And this is a young granddaughter. Her granddaughter, I don't even think probably hit puberty, but she's saying she's already filling her granddaughter with weariness towards black men. Colorism talk. So when that probably dark skinned young black girl, young black lady comes out here and she hits puberty and she start, doing the little middle school, high school dating. When y'all not really going out with each other, but y'all dating at school, quote unquote. Huh? That she'll already feel a certain way about black boys, negative way about black boys. And she will already see non-black boys as being better. That is a grandma throwing a rock and hiding her hand. So when y'all meeting these black girls and these black women all through middle school, high school, college, as adults in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, when y'all are meeting them as men, as black men, and she's short with you and she's curt with you and she's rude to you, she's disrespectful, she's mean, she's snarky, she's sassy, but when she speaks to non-black men interview voice, huh? No one really wants to speak about how much mama them and grandma them and auntie them are the ones who started her on that road at 4 and 5 out the womb. Huh? Huh? Princella said everything we say here, or just about everything. So either she's listening to us, and we know she was on the breakdowns of women's perspective. We know we many of us have frequented that channel when it was up and running. Huh? Oh boy. The women know, everyone. The women know they do not care. This is what I would say to Princella. At least elite women know they don't care. Highly educated women know they don't care. They either think they're going to be the exception to the rule, they're same sex loving, so it doesn't matter. Princella, you would know a little bit about that. Huh? Or they think your average man, this is what he deserves, stemming from probably some high school, middle school, underage rejection trauma. They didn't choose me when I was 12, so they could die for all I care. You think that's not a real thing? It's a real thing. And as a matter of fact, Princella spoke to that also. She said you could take the I think she said doctor, PhD, or whatever. And that's it. Exactly what Mr. Z. Ain't no way Princella ain't listening to Z. Ain't no way. Huh? What Mr. Z say? These women are educated, smart women, smart black women, educated women are educated, and they know their field in and out. If they really care, they know their career. They'll teach you something. I don't question women's intelligence. The second, though, I'm talking about the women that actually know what they're talking about. Huh? Somebody tell Condoleezza she don't know what she's talking about. Condoleezza Rice. Huh? Or Janet Reno back in the day, we already know about her sexuality. I'm not even talking about that. Huh? Or Margaret Thatcher, as much as we disagree with her politics, oh boy. Huh? Or Golda Meir. Huh? Tell them they don't know what they're talking about. Benazir Bhutto, we already know how she got deleted. Huh? So we're not talking about what women aren't capable of intellectually. But the second you start speaking about intimacy, relationships, men, sex, money, all of that, education, intelligence, wherewithal, all of it goes out the window, and you are dealing with a petulant child, an entitled brat. That's what Mr. Z has continued to say and emphasize on his channel, and you just heard Princella say the same thing in her own words. Huh? Better you said, I think the devil cold AF today, bro. You see what I'm saying? It's cold as hell in hell right. Well, it's cold in hell right now. For real. Hell done froze over. True. And AB says, Z, the look on Sister George's face when they were talking to Princella is still priceless. Say that. Huh? Vincent, it gotta be. Vince's winter is here. It gotta be. It gotta be here. Now, does this change anything really? No, no, not really. But hearing Princella of all people say this now, you gotta still take this with a grain of salt because tomorrow could change everything, right? We could get the same Princella that we've been hearing for a couple years now tomorrow. But at least today, Princella said everything we say here. Huh? She spoke about how men are frustrated, a man is a man, men are slaves. She spoke about the lack of female accountability stemming from childhood and how women are allowed to express their emotions and anger and sadness and depression and sorrow. I'm adding a little extra, but this is what she was expressing. Huh? And I think, to be honest with you, I think AB has a point here. And AB says, AB Media 83, y'all check him out. Yes, he has his own channel. And AB says, Z, Princella found out I own you, Negro applies to her too. And she actually spoke to that, AB. And I think that's what it really, I think that's maybe what triggered this or where this stems from is that Princella really is getting to see. And she said, she's former military. So she understands ain't no wiggle room for men. You got to get this task done fully, right? And it has to be top notch. Where women get to weasel in and out, and there's always some reason or some excuse why this didn't go this way or this didn't go that way, or why it's not, why all the T's aren't crossed and all the I's aren't dotted. Huh? I think what AB said is true. I think Princella has had some type of experience that really showed her, oh, the men ain't BSing. That's if we grant her that she didn't believe the men in the first place. And I would argue that Princella knew this also, right? I would argue Princella knew this already, but she might have had experience that really knocked her on her ass and really told her, oh no, it's really this. Huh? And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. KMS says, is Princella possibly punani problems causing her excuse me. Is Princella's possible punani problems causing her to preach pro penis platitudes? Strange days, excuse me. Strange days indeed. What is Mr. Z coming down with? Goddamn, when I got the hives? Jesus Christ. Knock on wood, don't wish it on myself. Right? But that's possible. And in KMS, it I don't it's not coming off as platitudes though. It's actually coming off a bit genuine, and that's the scary part. The scary part, and that's why I'm like, who's D'ing down Princella? Because it's not coming off as platitudes. Did her and her husband? Because last time I checked, the divorce wasn't final, right? Did her and her husband get back together, but she's just still doing this thing for the money, like, right? Because it's not coming off as platitudes. Like I was sniffing around for the platitude, like you said, platitudes and how genuine this is, and maybe how disingenuous she's being, and I'm like, I don't smell fake, and that's the scary part. That's the frightening part is I don't smell fake. I don't smell disingenuous. I don't smell ego stroking, right? What the lady say, male identified. Oh, you wild, Vince. Vince said, I'll sneaky link Princella. Hysterical. So possibly, pro P nice platitudes, yeah, possibly, but I don't. It didn't come off fake, right? Trying to just appeal to the men and their sensibilities and tell them what they want to hear. It it didn't come off that way. It didn't come off fake, and that's what makes it even more frightening. Now, once again, Princella is a black woman, so we you already know, and she still stood her ground on what she said in previous years, right? So we saw that she didn't retract anything that she said previously. So everything could change tomorrow, right? But at least today, ah, say that. And Dylan James says the studs can't afford these ladies neither, huh? Victor, how you gonna read that, Vic? Right? Y'all see what it is? Princella out here saying everything we say here, huh? The men are created to serve women. How much women actually buy into that? I kept on saying it. Nobody wants to have an honest conversation about how much the women are invested in patriarchy. Like white women just showed you, but it's not just white women. Black women, Latina women, Asian women, Middle Eastern Arab women, small hat women, they're invested in they're invested in worker drone, worker bee men. The women think that's your role as a man. I Let me say this again. Y'all have reached, dear, particularly the left, but even the right, because y'all played this game real interesting. Talk about placating and platitudes, KMS. The right playing a real interesting game with men. I see y'all. I'm gonna have to do a whole separate stream with what y'all doing. But particularly to the left, y'all have reached the market cap of how much you can push men without moving women. I said it. The men are going on dates. They're meeting up with women. That's the men that are actually getting dates. They're meeting up with women and they're getting punched in patriarchal expectations. All this equality talk sound nice right up until it's time to get down and dirty and busy, giggity with women. Once you introduce sex and intimacy and we start talking boyfriend, girlfriend, and who's your man and who's your woman, all of that equality talk go out the window. The women mean it in theory. They mean it for every other woman but herself. All that talk. No, the problem is the men are insecure about her success. No, she's insecure about her success because she wants a paymaster man. Translation, she wants a man that earned more, significantly more. If you don't believe me, go ask Dr. Jennifer Lundquist. Go ask Dr. Chantel Buggs. Go ask Dr. Marcia Inhorn. Go ask, why I keep on forgetting the goddamn PhD sister from Black Girls Texting Podcast. Huh? Go ask Anne Marie Slaughter. Go ask Liz Mundy. I only listed women just now. And that's white, that's black, that's mixed race. Huh? So to the left in particular, all you're saying sound nice. That's why the men, even the young men, y'all should have had the young men, particularly for what the economic landscape is. The left should have had young men under the age of 40 or the age of 45. Y'all should have had them for at least a generation. Y'all fumbled the bag because y'all kept on pushing them further and further and not saying anything to the women. Mr. Z kept on screaming it from the rooftop, and other people like Mr. Z, but y'all just thought we was a bunch of He-Man woman haters. And you just gave the election to Donald Trump, and there you go. Huh? The women don't actually mean equality. It sounds nice until you tell them what equality really means. FD signifier, I told you that the first conversation we had. It's easy to move the men. It's easy to critique and insult and question the men and their masculinity and their manhood. Whoever that weirdo brother was on Jubilee, that FD signifier acolyte, the women are more likely to, change their concepts of their femininity than the men of their masculinity. What drugs are you on? Huh? All that sound nice. All that placating women crap sound nice. Princella, the woman that said men are incapable of love. That woman just double back and said, actually, let me tell y'all, actually, these women are messing up. These women see the men as slaves. They want the men to work themselves to the bone to provide for them. The stuff that the men over here in the Black manosphere have been telling you. The women are hypocrites. The women don't see men as human beings. They see men as human doings. By the way, the left, you already know this. You just ignore it. The women put the men in a pincer move. You either play this role and we might possibly, maybe not, reward you with a piece of cat, or you don't play that role and you don't get anything. And we question your sexuality and your manhood and your masculinity and your sexuality, if I didn't say that already. Huh? Yeah. 5.0 Mustang. Anyway, right? These are things that many of you already know. You just thought you could keep on pushing them in and pushing them in and pushing them in and doing what with the women? Oh, don't say them anything, defang the men, don't say anything to the women, and then watch the women throw a temper tantrum. But eventually the women, they'll just come around and they'll just deal with it and still engage with these men. Nope, they still are running after the men they see as patriarchs. The rich, white, elite men, the upper middle class white men. You know what Z has been saying on his channel for some years now? And on other random brothers all across the Black Manosphere channel, going on half a decade, almost half a decade. Huh? Thank you, KMS. I don't get a family. You don't get a society. Huh? Princella just said it all. You think FD don't know? He know. You think FD showed you he knew when he spoke to T Noir. These women, they have their career, they have their houses, they have their car, and now it's time to check off the man. And how am I supposed to tell them that's patriarchy? As a Black man, how am I supposed to tell them that? And T Noir said, yeah, and me as a queer woman. And they both looked at each other and essentially gave it to each other. Ish, I ain't gonna do it. They know. That's what I'm saying. These people know. They're not gonna say anything to the women. And when I said that to FD, he essentially said, yeah, I'm not. It's not my place. And I said, okay, fine, I get it. Then where are the women to say it? And they're not here. Who gonna say it? Every once in a while, you'll get Kim Foster. She'll just drop a little tidbit, just a smidge, just a teeny bite. That's it, bite. Sorry, just a teeny bit. Huh? So FD and Professor Odie and T1J and Conscious Lee and Foreign Man and you name them, they hit us upside the head with hammers over here. They try to throw Thor's hammer at us with the we need to change the way we move as men and engage with who? I'm not same-sex loving, huh? And yet, when y'all talk to the women, y'all okay, okay. You know, I ain't even gonna say it because I just don't want to get into it, huh? See, y'all don't have a problem going to blows with us, insulting us about our manhood and our, excuse me, retrograde Neanderthal-like ideas of manhood and masculinity and gender performance, and yet the men are not. So the women are critiquing the men, and the men are critiquing the men. The women, on the other hand, and their behavior and their idea of their femininity and their idea of womanhood, white womanhood that they're all attempting to achieve, elite white womanhood. That's black women, that's Latina women, that's Asian women, that's working class white women. They're all trying to be elite white women. Excuse me. No one's saying anything to them. And then you wonder why the dating scene looks the way it does. What dating scene? The marriage market looks the way it does. What marriage market under the top about 25%? Huh? Princella came out here and said, if Princella knows, there's no way FD don't know. There's no way Kim Foster, Harvard grad, doesn't know. She know. For all of us that remember the grapevine, look at Uchechi's face. You think Uchechi didn't know? She didn't care. And I get it. When y'all heard Kim Foster say the word partner, you're gonna have to be a partner? You saw the way the snarkiness that's get back, that's resentment. That's y'all didn't choose me, y'all don't find me attractive, y'all not treating me like Brittany Renner. And it's not like she really wants to be Brittany Renner, but y'all didn't treat me like the attractive light skin, biracial, exotical, whatever term Chrissy came up with today. And so this is get back. Be a partner. Huh? You see how Sarge Willie Pete says get carjacked? That's Kim Foster saying be partner. Be a partner. And it really is. And when we say it for what it is, we're called all type of sexist and misogynoirist and colorist and futurist. Mr. Z got a gut on him. I'm not Casanova, rest in peace. Right? I couldn't get Gerald Levert name out, y'all. Rest in peace, Gerald Levert. And well, whatever Leverts are no longer with us, because I don't think that was only his song. Was that just his song? Right? But as St. Cyr says here, ugly duckling resentment. Huh? And once again, KMS, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Huh? Thank you. And Toya says, me and Romeo ain't never been no friends. Right? That's what they said. That's what Jill Levert said. So once again, if Princella knows, they all know, but the Kim Fosters of the world think that's good get back. You average men should the system, and as Princella said, the system Princella said it in her own way, let Z say it in his way. The system should make men bow. The system should break men for women, right? Why are these men allowed to talk? Make them worker mules for women. The men got to run the world for how many millennia? It's women's turn now. I said it. The women are throwing a temper tantrum. And as a matter of fact, I finally found it. I saved it. I covered it a little while ago. It was on Real Talk with Yanni's channel a few years ago. Where the white girl was saying, we've leveled up, we've done the work. What about the men? That was her appealing to the system. That was her appealing to the technocrats and the social designers. Make the men bow. In her own white women way, that's what she was saying. We've done the work. We've gone to therapy. We've gone to school. We've done this. We've done that. What about the men? It's the men. Translation: make the men bow. It's our turn now. What's the term? F who got next, I got now. That's what the women are saying. I got now. Huh? So Princella said it. Princella said it, and Princella doesn't have an advanced degree. Princella said it. Princella didn't attend no one's Ivy League school. If she know, Kim Foster knows. But Kim Foster is invested in having the system break men for women. Unfortunately for the Kim Foster types, who are not her, because she good, she got a man. How questionable that situation is, but for all the Kim Foster acolytes, oh, they gonna be out here single, depressed, lonely, on antidepressants. And Kim Foster, like FD, is gonna continue to double down on quote unquote critiquing the men and their behavior, and never tell the ladies, you know what, it's actually our concepts of femininity and womanhood. And Kim Foster, no, every once in a while, like I said, she'll put a little crumb out there for the ladies, but she ain't gonna go in the way FD going on us, or foreign, or consciously. Huh? Huh? If and they know, because when Julesy covered the black women are raised to settle, right, and marry down. Eh, and even Julesy was like, that's not actually true. And the women were in her comments flaming her. Huh? Whoever that random sister is, please somebody find that clip for me. What his sister was saying, black men don't earn enough more. Black women with glasses. Huh? That's what it really is. Black men writ large don't earn enough more to make black women upper middle class white women. You think Dr. Umar Johnson doesn't know that's what it really is? He knows. And every once in a while, he'll pretty much say it. Huh? So let me read this. Um, okay. And better use is like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And better use is in DBZ narrator voice. With Diglett and Princella defeated, all that remains is the captain of the Hate Ninja Force, the Iron Bang. Will this match for the ages? What, excuse me? Will this match for the ages? Find out next time on Mr. Z. I tried to do my best name a voice impression, y'all. I ain't name her. I ain't name her. Right? Next time on Mr. Z. Hysterical. Right? But Once again, I'm not going to put too much on it. Um, we hear Princella say this. I'm not going to put too much on it. It's getting downloaded. You better believe it. Um, that's funny. That's hysterical. And from Africa, I came said Darth Weave. Hysterical. Oh, that's funny. For real. Darth Darth Weavius. Darth Iron Bangs. Darth Bangs. Right? Man. So hearing Princella say this, once again, I'm not going to put too much on it. We heard her speak. She said everything we say here. I wonder and question whether she listens to the Black Manosphere and how much she does and how much she actually agrees with this. It did not come off as her placating, not to Z, right? Shout out to KMS, the platitudes. I didn't really see her engaging in I at least for me, it seemed like she was coming from a genuine place. Maybe a bit of frustration with women, with other women, but it seemed like she was coming from a genuine place, and that's what I find a bit frightening. Huh? That's what I find a bit frightening. To speak on how women see men as created to serve them. Now, once again, her framing was like men and women are both essentially trying to make slaves out of each other, and that the men don't have the communication tools of women. Eh, we communicate different, I would say, right? But once again, the women trying to appeal to the system to break the men for them. How Hillary Clinton said to bring the men to heal for them, huh? To hear Princella speak like this, man. So Princella is out here saying this, and that's a bit frightening. It's a bit frightening. And she said the the women really see men as defective women, particularly in the black community. It's not that they don't really appreciate that we're biologically different. And I would say this, that's because the women have been smelling their own farts for far too long. I don't think the women just don't fully appreciate it because they've been smelling their own farts. They believe their own hype now. They believe their own hype now. It's that the men refuse to move like the women. The women don't really appreciate how toxic the environments that they're in are. That's why we're not going to those universities. Why would we want to go to an institution that tells us night and day how sexist and misogynistic and misogynoirist we are, while also trying to get as much money from us as humanly possible? When that young lady gets out here in the real world as a full adult, those same men that she was encouraging her professor to call all type of sexist and misogynistic, those same men are supposed to provide for her at the absolute highest level financially. Why would men go to that institution? We already know about the stories of the women who had all women collectives, offices that were all women, and how it disintegrated. And women have written articles about that. The cattiness of other women in those spaces. Not a man in sight. You can't blame the men. And if the women do that to women, what you think they do to men? Right? Russo Gian, thank you for the cash app. Thank you for the cash app. Huh? We already know, especially in the black community, but other women engage in this. A man don't move the way you want him to move, you question his sexuality. That's not a man thing. Women engage in that. I would argue women engage in that more. Because if a man starts questioning your sexuality as an insult, there might be some furniture moving. That doesn't mean you're gonna win, but there might be some furniture moving. But women get away with that, particularly in the black community, and it's no harm, no foul. Huh? And here you have a butch, same-sex loving black woman saying everything that we say in the black manosphere. Huh? Just saying. I like this phrase better. And Indigo says shirt collar's getting wrinkled up. Exactly. Grab a man's collar. Exactly. I like that phrase. That's funny. I like that phrase. Shirt collar's getting all type of wrinkled up. Huh? You want to hear about partner? It's gonna be a whole lot of who you talking to partner like that. Shout out to Ti. It's gonna be a whole lot of partner talk. Huh? I agree. And Saint Cyr says, yeah, Z, that's not only a black woman thing. Latinas do it like crazy. I never got that from an Asian, specifically Southeast Asian, Filipina, and Viet. Women though, women regardless of race are phobic. Yes, they are. And I gotta say it. Shout out to Ole for saying it to Quay Tan, that's a Trans woman, and to Herbie. Because everyone, going back to Priscilla, everyone's letting women throw rocks and hide their hand. Like these women aren't our sisters, our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers, our girlfriends, our wives, our sneaky links, our side pieces, right? What you think the women don't think all type of questionable things about certain men? Yeah, the Latinas are, but I would argue one of the reasons why you don't see certain Asians engaging that because in those cultures, that man got the right to backhand her. That's why, huh? You question my sexuality and weaponize my sexuality, or you're using it as an insult. Just like I would handle a man, I get to handle you like that. And so, in those cultures, those women know better than to say it in that way, huh? But once you start getting westernized, particularly Americanized, oh yeah, the women get to do that. FD know that he's actually said it before, huh? Right. And once again, better you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Kin Seeing Red says, and thank you for the super chat. Are you saying she is a BJ away from being back on the plantation? Um, are you if you're talking about Princella? I I think men and the way men are socialized and the way we want as a society for men to be, men's men in their gender performance is far more narrow. We already know this. I'm preaching to the choir here. And we as a society want it that way. It's not just men that want it that way. Women, by and large, want it that way also. If you don't believe me, go speak to a bisexual man about women and how women see him and how even when he is attracted to a woman, what that situation is like. Men's performance, heterosexual men, and their performance is very narrow, and men and women are invested in that. And men and women want it that way. Women, on the other hand, can do whatever, however, whenever, and very few of us will question her, or there will be a negative mark on that individual woman or women writ large. So when we speak about Princella and is she a BJ away, maybe, maybe, right? Because I don't really, and I've been mulling this over more and more. I used to be like this. I kind of fell off of it, and I don't really know how much I believe in quote unquote straight women. I think, there are straight women, clearly, but I think a lot of it is situational for women. I think when you factor in women and their emotions and how we haven't disciplined them as a society when it comes to how to exhibit their emotions, I am not surprised by the women who are same sex loving, especially in the black community. When you are sold a market based ideology and you're angry at the men, or you're angry at what men you can't get, or what men won't bow and kiss your rear end, I can see you engaging in same sex loving relationship until the right man comes along, until the man or the type of man that you find appealing comes along, because you lack any discipline. We literally just watched it with B. Taylor. Huh? And I agree with that, AB. She's broken. I agree. Say that. Compassionate says, once you remove the indoctrination or religious dogma, women are whatever the environment or situation calls for. And in many ways, Princella was speaking to that. It's frightening. I'm telling y'all, I was listening to Princella. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who did clone Princella? This got to be a Princella clone. Huh? Y'all over here worried about the Jamie Foxx clone. Ain't no Jamie Foxx clone. This is a Princella clone. This ain't the real Princella. Where's the real Princella? Huh? I'm listening to Princella like, wait a minute. That's essentially what I'm saying, better you. How straight is their straight? How straight is their quote unquote straight? Exactly. Right? And Nubarian says no. The conscious community gave black women ammunition about the XX chromosome being the first. Black women mixed that information with feminism. It's not just that. I was listening to, what is that professor's name? Jesus Christ. PhD. Um God, he was the one I just listened to some of his stuff about Sykes-Picot and what is his name? I'ma tell y'all. Give me a second. I'ma tell y'all in a second. I'm gonna tell y'all in a second. Give me a second. Roy Casagrande. Yeah. I've been watching his stuff. I listened to his stuff years and years ago. Kind of fell off. You know when you kind of rediscover someone. And it's easy on these YouTube streets with the forever videos. How many videos and stuff on YouTube. And I used to listen to him forever ago, and kind of quote unquote rediscovered him and started listening to his stuff. And he had one about masculinity. And the way he was speaking about manhood is it's manhood is so incidental. We're just here to transmit, and he was low key speaking like matriarchy ain't that bad. Like men are just here as a conduit to transfer um DNA from mother to daughter-in-law type thing, and like it ain't that bad. And I'm like, see, and I'm listening. This is an academic, PhD, smart as a whip, white dude, right? And I'm listening to him, and I'm like, you don't really appreciate that. Men have been hearing this for some decades. We resent that framing, right? Like historian, he's like this is a person that knows what they're talking about. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, we've been hearing that type of talk. The women have essentially been calling, especially in the black community. In the black community, a black woman will call you a sperm donor so quick and fast. We damn near get whiplashed how quick they'll say it. Imply it, suggest it, and just outright say it. We've been hearing that forever. We already know that's how y'all think. And we resent it. You're not saying anything new, at least not to black men. Huh? Ooh, compassionate. That's the comment. That might be the comment of the stream today. Compassionate says sexuality is a Swiss Army knife to them. Oh man, what you got the bottle opener, the can opener, um obviously the knife, the what else be on the Swiss Army knife? Be having everything. Um yeah, that's wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. And Vic says straight is an option for them, not a default. And that goes back to some of the things that Princella was saying, some of the things we say here in the Black Manosphere. So when you take women as the default in a vacuum, when men don't operate like women, then men are defective women. Because for us, our sexuality is more solid. We play less games with our sexuality writ large as men. We already know about prison culture. We know about the bi brothers and just bi men, the questionable men. We know that this exists. The men who are doing something strange in secret. Shout out to all you conservative white men. Oops. Huh? We know. With that, when women look at themselves as the default and anything that doesn't acquiesce to that and behave like that with caveats is somehow defective, then of course women would start doing it. And this is where you get Kadesia mocking men, be fruity in the booty. Yes, she's by the way, yes, she did say it. And experiment with your sexuality. Because in her mind, the only reason we're not moving like her is not because we're actually straight. It's because we're a bunch of men posturing and pretending to be straight. And the other men that are pretending to be straight are holding us to pretending to be straight. So we're all a bunch of men pretending to be straight who are looking at other men pretending to be straight, and we're scared not to pretend to be straight because we don't want to be questioned about our sexuality from other men, particularly. Everybody's posturing, right? Oh yeah, don't forget the scissor. You're right. That's also in the Swiss Army knife. You're right. You're right. Shout out to Calvin Rogers. Huh? Wow. Huh? So you have this same-sex loving woman who's being honest about what's going on here. And I'm gonna go and I went through some of the comments. Actually, I went through some of the comments, and the men were pretty much clapping it up for her. I'm a little bit more weary, right? But I get it. And we'll pause right here. And Chef Butter Biscuit says, right? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Chef Butter Biscuit says, Z, how difficult will it be for us not only convince black men to not only convince black men, but the masses as well that they are just mad they weren't picked in high school and in college? Um, I don't think it would actually be that difficult. I think that the average person doesn't think it's that serious though. I think the average person, and then you got to remember too, there's so many women who align with Kim Foster because they are a Kim Foster, a less educated Kim Foster, but they are a Kim Foster, right? I don't think it would be that difficult to convince a nice chunk of men. I won't say whether it's a majority or minority, and I don't even think it'll be that difficult to convince a minority of women. Usually, the women that were either doing okay in high school or in college when it came to men and boys, or definitely the women that were doing really well since they were children. The cute and pretty and sexy. I'll say women. I don't want to talk about minors that way, but yeah, I don't think it'll be that difficult to convince a sizable minority of women. And I don't want to put it how much on men. I don't think it'd be that difficult. I think we see their behavior. We see bitterness and resentment, but many of us can't pin it down. Many of us think it's some adult heartbreak. We think it's the baby daddy that did them wrong, or the ex-husband, right? The man that quote unquote stepped out on them, or whoever might have physically assaulted them. We think it's something like that. And although that may have happened to an individual woman, particularly in the black community, you by extension, maybe the Latino and Latina community, although that may have happened, that's not where a lot of the resentment stemmed from. The resentment stemmed from really, I would say, under the age of 10, really since 7, 8, 9 years old. It only got worse as she got older. And it's solidified by her mid-teens when she realized, oh, y'all really ain't messing with me like that. I done hit puberty, and y'all really ain't messing with me like that. Oh, F y'all. Huh? So there's that too. And Newberian says Kim Foster grew up whitewashed. She is not the majority. True. I mean, she did speak about whatever school she went to, whether it was in Oklahoma or in Texas, but um and I want to say she went to a high school that was diverse at best, maybe predominantly white, and she she said it and somewhere on what is his name? I forgot his Demon Synthal. Somewhere on Demon Synthal's channel is him covering Kim Foster speaking about her high school experience when it came to this. That it wasn't just the black jocks that weren't checking for her, the black nerds weren't checking for her either. And she was forced to go to prom with the white boy. Now here's the question I I I've been asking for a couple of years since the first time I saw it. That was her first sexual experience with that white boy. And if it was, or with any non black young man, particularly white, because if it was, that says so much about Kim Foster and about why she doesn't date interracially. Because as a person who maybe possibly lost her virginity to a white boy, possibly, because she did speak about having sexual experiences in high school, right? As a person who lost her virginity in at least high school, possibly to a non-black young man, and as a person who attended Harvard, and we can see that she has no white boyfriend, I wonder. if Miss Foster lost her virginity to a white boy, and if the white boys had did her dirty in high school or at Harvard, and that's why now she's dating exclusively black men, from what we can see. Huh? Huh? And Telescope says, in college, my nerdy daughter was introduced in her nerdy boy. Excuse me, I said that wrong. In college, my nerdy daughter was introduced. The comments keep on moving. Introduced to her nerdy boyfriend by their nerdy friends. Now they're married, and I've got nerdy grandkids. Excuse me, a nerdy grandkid. Mating ain't hard. Yeah, but what happens if your daughter, Telescope, if your daughter says, I don't want a fellow nerd, at least in my 20s, in my teens, in my 20s, I want I want the swaggy dude. Now she might come back around to the nerdy dude after, right? And hopefully she don't got a kid. But what about if your daughter went a different path? Where your daughter was still nerdy, and you see, by the way, we see this all across the hood in America, all across the suburbs in America, the sister that's a nurse, the white girl that's a nurse, the Latina that's a nurse, the Asian woman that's a nurse, that's making 60s and 70s and $80,000 a year. They're paralegals, they're nurses. Once again, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a year. And their BD, their baby daddy, is some around the way hood dude. Whether he's white, black, Latino, maybe even Asian. Huh? But she's nerdy, or at least she's career oriented. And him, on the other hand, right? Huh. So that's something to think about. Telescope, your daughter went down the path you and her mother constructed for her. A lot of these women, they go down that path, but they want a different experience. They want they don't want the nerdy men, unless, of course, I mean, if nerdy also entails chisel chin, tall, good looking, yeah, yeah. If it's one of those quick witty dudes, yeah. Just because you're a nerd doesn't mean you're unattractive. But the ladies want a different type of experience. Huh? Now, see, this is what I'm saying. And Telescope says, true nerds aren't fooled by swag. I trained her better. Showed her hood nonsense when she was young. See, that's what I'm saying. And I don't know how much of it's fooled. I just think they be having a vested interest in doing something different. I don't think it's fooled necessarily, right? I just think they have a vested interest in doing something different, and they just do something different. They go a different path. And it's not until they get knocked upside the head or get knocked up that they go in a different direction. Sierra, anyone? Goddamn. Huh? So yeah. And once again, thank you for the super chat, Chef Butter Biscuits. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe. Z, get your words out. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. In my humble opinion, if society is a church, it's the men that must believe. The pastor knows the women are atheists, actually agnostic. So they must keep us in the pews for the collection plate. Say that. Say that. Yeah. Huh? And Nubian, this is interesting. I'll get back to that comment, KMS. Nubian says, I said Nubarian says, um, Kim Foster is a coward. She doesn't want to accept her African features. Maybe, but the way she frames it is that black men are not accepting of her features, right? Now, there's something to be said about projection, right? There's something to be said about projection and how much it's really you, but you project that it's others. Like, it's really you, as you're saying, Nubarian, it's really you that haven't accepted your features because you feel like your features are limiting. Like, your features are not garnering you the attention, the like primal attention that you wish you garnered from a particular type of man. It's not that Kim Foster can't get these men, she just gonna have to pay. And the jealousy and the anger comes from the fact that the Brittany Renners of the world get that kind of primal attention in like sexual advances, right? It's not that Kim Foster can't get, she's just gonna have to pay. And she know it. Huh? And I want us to have a more honest conversation about sexuality. And if y'all want to be honest about desirability, then ladies, you gotta go all the way. I gotta That's why I keep on shouting out Ostefco. These women were never, ever, ever going to go down the road of pretty privilege. Ostefco was the one that kicked the door open. And I'm not saying that nobody ever spoke on it online and women did it and black women did it, but they didn't go where Ostefco went with it. Now, once again, the framing. Yeah, we already know the framing. Once again, black women. But Ostefco kicked the door down, and you ain't see Chrissy go nowhere near that. Last time I checked, Kim Foster ain't really go where Ostefco went with the conversation. Ostefco made it visceral for you. What it is to be at a bar on your birthday, you got glammed up and dressed up, you get in the bar before your homegirl, and ain't no man, glance your way, really. Let alone a man who you find appealing. No man glanced your way. And once again, did any man really glance her way, but it wasn't someone she found appealing? We don't know. We weren't there. But fine, let's take it her word for it. And then your homegirl, supposedly mixed homegirl, walk in, and the men are breaking their neck. And how does that feel? Kim Foster will never admit that that's what animates her and her resentment at average black men and black men writ large and elite black men. Huh? She'll never say that. No, I think Buddy Rowe makes good money. He just don't make the money she make. And Cam says, who says Diglett ain't paying now? Couch surfers will take networking opportunities well as PS5. No, I think he makes good money. I think he makes good money. He just don't make the money she make. Right? Yeah, but look at the way she move. Look at her sexuality. As a matter of fact, there's so much to say about this. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And from Africa came says, this is why Kadesia is interesting to me, because she seems to accept that she's an outgroup female. She does say, I can't. What's her background? Is it Congolese or Sudanese or something like that? I can't remember what her background is, but she speaks about going back home to Africa, whatever country it is, and being kind of sought after, and how that kind of changed her mind about environment. Number one. Number two, I think Kadesia is a really good example of a number of black women and how they quote unquote accept that they're outgroup women. And they may not be traditionally seen as attractive in when you consider obviously European beauty standards. And I say that because of the highlighter eyebrow color, which she makes fun of herself when she does these things, by the way. And it's the same thing you saw with Raven Simone. She made fun of herself when she was on the View once, and her when she did the whole toucan Sam haircut thing, right? Remember there was a time we were like when Raven popped back on the scene, and we were like, oh, okay, Raven, I see you. Little thickums over there, little, yeah, she was a little bit heavier than thick, but still, black men. You remember when we was like, okay, before she really started talking, and we're like, okay, Raven, I see you, okay. And she started talking, oh boy. And then she cut her hair, cut all type of weird, oh boy. And then we really found out that she was same-sex loving, and it was like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, I think these women accept that they're outgroup women, and then the way they respond to accepting outgroup women, that's when we get into the interesting stuff, right? And I see that as giving up. And from Africa came says, you see her willingness to wear goofball ish. That to me is, well, F it then. If I'm not in the running for quote unquote pretty, right? Then F it all to hell. Right? Okay, and KMS says, that's my point, Z. Diglett's man, better you, goddamn. And KMS says, goddamn, better you. You got everybody call her Diglett now. That's my point, Z. Diglett's man makes enough to change the life of the Chick-fil-A hottie, but Diglett pays in-network opportunities. Yeah. So he lays on her couch. Yeah, because I think that's her place. You're right, actually. I think that's her place. That's her place that she records from. That's not their place. That's her place. So I don't know if he moved in or if he has his own place, but whenever they get it in or whatever the situation is, it's none of my business. But still, good point, KMS. Yeah, good point. Good point. And Saint Cyr says, I missed that chapter. LOL, when were y'all drooling over Raven? If I said drooling, maybe that was the wrong word, but there was a point where Raven brought about when she had first started going on The View or being on The View, there was a point where, like, from my understanding, from what I was reading in the comments and seeing from brothers, it was like, wait a minute, okay, Raven, we see you, okay, right? It maybe wasn't drooling, but it was definitely like, oh, a bit of intrigue. Okay, you done came back on the scene. All right, this ain't the Cosbys no more. Okay, we see you. This ain't this so Raven anymore. All right, we see you. What you up to? And then she started talking, and then she started doing the weird haircuts, and then she started calling black women watermelonitra, whatever she said. Right. That's why Ann Coulter got her ass. Huh? So yeah, but yeah, no, I agree with what KMS is saying here about we got to be the true believers as men because the women are really agnostic, right? We have to be the true believers. The society needs blue pill men. We see that, and look at where society is with just a minority of men writ large going red pill or black pill or doomer. Oh boy, the society needs blue pill men. Nubarian, that's a whole. I want to go tinfoil with this comment so bad because I agree with you so much. There's also the question of what Hollywood does to children writ large, particularly black children. But Nubarian says Raven is the poster child for who they want want all black women to be. I could do a whole stream on that comment, right? So yeah, Yeah, from Africa I came. Yeah, yep, huh? Yep. We spoke about that a little bit last night, but yeah, yep. Hey, that happens another two, three times, two, three times, maybe four times to one of those type of folks. You think things ain't gonna change? First of all, they're gonna hire super guards. They're gonna hire guards to be around them all 24/7. Or their companies that they're heads of are gonna start hiring guards to go with them everywhere. Number one. But number two, you think they're gonna, especially when these folks start doing that and then deleting themselves and leaving manifestos on why? Yeah. So yeah, from Africa I came. You know why I didn't highlight the comment, but yes, yeah, yep, yep, yeah, Nubarian. Yeah, that's true. Well, let me don't say that's true. I don't know her, but from what I can see from the outside and 2,000 miles away from Hollywood, yeah, from what I can see, that's what I see it being. And Nubarian says Raven is lesbian and hates black men. Or obsessed and hates black men. Maybe that too, but hates being black. So let's read that again. Raven is lesbian and hates being black. Yeah, yeah. So on that note, y'all, all right, I gave y'all an hour and a half. Shout out to Dr. Thunder. Shout out to the Roger Report. I don't know if Dr. Thunder is still streaming or if the Roger Report is streaming yet. He should be. He should be. Um, I just wanted to come to y'all with this. So yeah, Princella, y'all. So y'all click the links in the description box. Princella, everyone. Princella, out of everyone, Princella. Yes, the same-sex loving Butch Princella, right? Oh no. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I've heard a few things of what Corey said about Raven Simone. I said, well, Raven, right? I've heard a few things. He did speak about. I think he said he was somewhere. I want to say he said he was at a bank, and she was in line with him, and she was all super hugged up on the white girl, but she was hugging on the white girl like she needed her, like whatever random white woman this was whatever, but it was Raven that was all up on her like she needed her. So yeah, yeah. And exactly what Let Me Feel says, what did Corey Holcomb say? Yeah, what did Corey Holcomb say that maybe we missed? Yeah, that's a good point. And Gilgami says, if they hire security while still implementing those policies, it will send a message to the masses that they overtly don't care, which in turn will increase the response of said masses. Yeah, nice way of wording that, by the way, Gilgami. Yeah, yeah. Man, look, yeah, to the elite, like I said last night, you can't keep on trying to squeeze blood out of a rock. Y'all better get together in whatever muaha, um, you know, thing y'all whatever organization y'all have, um, outside of the G20 and outside of Bilderberg Group or whatever the hell, um, y'all better get together and figure something out because people are tired. People are tired. People are broke. People are tired of struggling. Whatever y'all doing, y'all hoarding the wealth. People are tired, and yeah, right. I keep on saying it on my channel. All these things y'all have implemented over the past few decades are not sustainable. Yeah, and y'all are profiting off of people's misery as y'all done throughout human history. Y'all think y'all just gonna be buying up homes and leaving them on this renters market? Who's gonna buy? Who's gonna be paying the rent? That's the crazy part. Okay, fine. People won't be buying the whole houses. Who's gonna be paying the rent? Who's gonna be paying the rent? And then who's gonna be talking to whatever AI voice recorded system to pay the rent? This dystopian future that y'all are trying to bring about. Who's going to be paying the $3,500 rent, the 4,000, 4,500, 5,000, $6,000 rent? Who? Who has the money to be paying the 3,000 and $3,500 and $4,000, $4,500 and $5,000 and $6,000 rent. Who? For a 3-2 without a garage. Okay, yeah, that's it. Just saying. So, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and I'll read this one now. And Too Watchful says, and thank you for the super chat. Hardest working Haitian tax. LOL. I don't know. I got some steep competition. I don't know about that one. Too Watchful. I don't know. The hardest working Haitians are really, really hard workers. I don't know about that one. They really work like goddamn, right? I might be up there, but I don't know. Hardest working Haitians. Hardest working Haitians, really. It really is the Jamaican stereotype with the 2-3 jobs and the side gig. Yeah, that's hardworking people writ large. That's what they really doing. But y'all already know about the. Well, I hope y'all know about the stereotype about Jamaicans and having 2, 3, 4 jobs. It's really a Caribbean stereotype. Um, but yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Exactly. And from Africa, I came said all Caribbeans. Exactly. Right. And I would just say hardworking people in general, but I know I get the whole stereotype about the Jamaicans and then the Caribbeans writ large. Right. And from Africa, I came says have 5 trades minimum. Right. Man. Exactly. And Black Uru says they don't care. They want to steal as much as they can for as long as they can, figuring they will have taken enough to remake or live in whatever world comes later. I agree. I agree. Right. So yeah, y'all. Look, in Living Killer, hey man. That's who I was thinking about when I was speaking about that earlier. Right. That's exactly the character I was thinking about. But yeah. Um, on that note, y'all, let me go run and do these errands. I only got a little bit of time. Before Mr. Z has to take his little nap before we gotta go do this because I can't do a reckless stream earlier. Um, so yeah, y'all. Look, Princella. Everybody click the links in the description. Shout out to BGS. BGS, you should have never let me find this. First of all, y'all already know how this go. Eventually, Mr. Z was going to stumble on this anyway, but BGS just expedited the process. And boy, do I thank him for that. Because Princella, out of everyone, Black Uru, when you get a chance, click the links in the description box because Princella out here saying everything we say. It's actually a bit frightening, right? And it's not even coming off fake. That's what makes it even more frightening, right? Exactly. And Kinsey in Red says, if you only have 3 jobs, Z, you lazy. You see what I'm saying? And I'll end out with this comment. I was in Dr. Dunbar's comments no, that's not a few months ago, maybe like 6 or some odd months ago, 6, 7 months ago. I was in his comments and in his live comments, and he was saying something about work and whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah, Doc, I work this many hours a week. And he was like, oh, that's with YouTube, right? And he said it like, right? And I was like, no, that's actually without YouTube. And he was like, oh, crap, Z. Like, yeah. Yeah, y'all, look. Y'all hear how Z talks. Y'all hear I am not about working yourself to death for the women. I am not about working yourself to death for the corporations. But if you are attempting to do something, either a lifestyle you're trying to achieve, or some dream or aspiration, a toy you're trying to get, a business you're trying to start, so you need some. You have to create your own seed capital. Yeah, right. But the way this system got it constructed, we over here having to work 60 plus hours a week just to live, just to maintain, not for any of the extras. Shout out to George W. Bush when that white lady stood up and said she had 3 jobs, and he spoke to her like, "Yeah, isn't it an American dream? And isn't that what you're supposed like?" Now he didn't say, "Isn't that what you're supposed to do?" But he was speaking like she was doing that for the extras. No, she was doing that to maintain, right? Yeah, Mr. Shook to you says Princella said that ish from the heart. Yeah, yep, yep. That's how I read it. That's how I read it. Right? Kinsey and Red said, when I was young, I had when I was your age, I had 17 jobs. Hysterical, impossible, but hysterical. All right, y'all. On that note, we will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. That let me know I was tired yesterday because I couldn't even get that out yesterday or last night. Um, so we'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Better you said I had 5 jobs in college and was volunteering. Oh boy, right? Um, crazy work, crazy work. And y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. For the love of God, go touch some grass. And y'all have a great, great rest of y'all day. Go check out. I think Dr. Thunder might still be streaming. The Roger Report should be streaming now. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content. And we'll pause right here. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.